All right. Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Makakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers, and peace and blessing and salutation to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Makakwadash, pushing to get up out here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners who have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Shai. All right, and what I want to get into, what I want to get into this morning, is dealing with by their fruit. Okay, by their fruit, and one thing about the Heavenly Father, we serve a just power, and as, we have come into this ministry. All right, you have, different camps, different teachers, different men teaching this word. Well, the Lord exposes everything, whether it's good or bad. All right, and what we're seeing, the fruits of men that ain't right. Okay, and we've constantly seen this, time and time again, where the Lord will expose the fruits of men, all right, that ain't right. Okay, so there's no excuse, in these last in these latter days, to be fooled by false prophets. Now we know, okay, that the blind gonna lead the blind, all right, but the elect, okay, are going to be the elect are going to be steered towards the truth, because there's certain, men, that are now, teaching in righteousness, teaching the right doctrine and sincerity, growing, building, you know, that was once a part, of other camps. Okay, but the Lord already extrapolated them out of there, man. You know why? Because they started to see the fruit of the doings, okay, of certain camps or certain men. So the Lord is constantly doing that, man, to show us that we on the right path. Like, the other side is necessary. What these niggas are doing on the other side is necessary because it exalts the truth. Okay, it exalts. So like it exalts, all right, the true men. It exalts the true, all right, doctrine. It exalts Yahweh by Shemal Shai. It gives clarity to Yahweh by Shemal Shai in these latter days. Okay, so let's just go into a few things. All right, let's go to Matthew 7:15. It says, "Beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves, man." And these men come as if they're just all about Israel. They just care so much about Israel. You know, everything they do is for Israel. They just want to see that they just got Israel best interest in mind. They protecting you from the wild niggas of GMS. Okay, they protecting you from the bombs, from they call us grapists and PDF files and all these different things. Hide your daughters from GMS, all that. Okay, all that talk, and the Lord bust that shit up, and them niggas weren't right, and everyone following them niggas ain't right, man. Okay, because most of them people are confused. They don't know what to do now. That was following these certain camps. Okay, because y'all, hey, the Lord allowed you to run your tab up so much with them niggas, man. Okay, it's an embarrassment, man, to come around. Okay, but the Lord allowed these niggas to be propped up, because the Lord is setting up a lot of Israelites that know that they're Israelites for failure, man. Okay, because these men, you cheerlead these men, and the Lord constantly showing the fruit, okay, of their doings, as the scriptures say. Okay, and them niggas double down, and you double down with them niggas, man. Okay. So the Lord got a lot in motion, man. That's why we gotta be very appreciative, man, that the Lord gave us solid, sound teachers, man, leaders in these last days, man. That's a precious thing, okay? Because Israel always was plagued with bad leadership, man. They caused many to err, okay? But in these last days, there's a remnant, there's a leadership that's following Yahweh, man. And we're able to follow them, as Apostle Paul says, follow me as I follow, all right, Yahweh. Imitate me while I'm imitating Yahweh, man. So our leadership is imitating Yahweh, and we get to imitate those men, So we're imitating Yahweh Shai, man. You know, everybody in their own light. Okay? Reading on, it says, ye shall know them by their fruits. Okay? Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Okay? Now when it says in the AMP, Matthew 7:16 said, by their fruit will you recognize them. That is by their contrived doctrine and self-focus, man. And you can, come on, man. The Lord make it obvious these niggas ain't right, man. Look what Jake be on, man. Jake coming in the Passover on a horse, the Passover at the strip club, okay? And then can't even have the decency to take off a hat while they teach. But a nigga took off the hat for Christ, okay? Nigga told you to trust, all right, the juice, okay? Look at what Jake is doing, okay? You see, Jake is, you know, you can't tell that these men are about clout. Okay, look at what Jake is on. You can't tell that these men are all about clout and they feed into their ego on camera. All these gimmicks and games. So that's how you know these men. Okay, it says, by their fruit you will recognize them, and look at their product. Look at what they're producing. Look at the acts of these certain camps, man. Look at the things that they're caught up into, marching around for Kyrie Irving at the arena. What are y'all doing? Okay, you see, what are y'all doing, man? A nigga that play basketball, why does he get that much attention? But you can't call on the true name of the Son, the true name of the Father. Okay, so as you're listening and observing, you're watching this, man. It's on you. It's on you to say, wait a minute, this not adding up. Why are they doing this? You gotta look at the fruits of these men doing. Okay, and it says, do people pick grapes from thorns, all right, or bushes, all right, from thorn bushes, or figs from thistles? Yeah, man. Okay, so if the leader ain't right, okay, the organization ain't gonna be right. Okay, because as we use that scripture as the king of the people, so are his officers. Well, that's the same in these camps. You know, because these camp leaders, they're like the government of these camps. So is the leaders, so are the officers and the people. That's what they're gonna cultivate. If the camp heads ain't right, okay, the organization head ain't right, nothing's gonna be right. They just gonna produce, all right, more of themselves. You see, we're here to be a product of Yahweh Shai. Okay? Not some random Jake ego, man. You see? Verse 7, it says, even so every healthy tree, all right, even so every healthy tree bears good fruit, but the unhealthy tree bears bad fruit, man. You know? And you look at, well, with Yahweh Shai, because Yahweh Shai is what the physician, man. Okay? And you look at GMS, and salvation ain't confined to being in GMS. Okay? But you have to be honest, man. What group of men is the Lord dealing with? And everyone in GMS ain't right, man. And we gotta constantly check ourselves, examine ourselves. Okay, and we're not above rebuke. We get rebuked, you know, a lot of rebuke go on off camera, you know, on camera we get rebuked. Okay, so we're not above rebuke or correction. Okay, well that's really what's keeping us in this thing, man. Is accepting the rebuke and correction, man. Okay? So you can't deny, man, that the Lord is dealing with the apostles and elders, man. You know, the Lord is dealing with GMS camps, man. You know, that's just what it is, man. It's not a thing of pride. It's a thing of responsibility. Knowing that makes it to where we have to be more on point. Because we know the Lord requires more. To whom much is given, much is required. That's why we're careful how we build. This is why we're not here to promote ourselves. We're here to promote Yahweh Shai, the doctrine. Okay? Edification. We're here to edify, man. Okay? No gimmicks included. Just edification, man. You know, and being thorough in how we teach, man. Being thorough on our watch, man. You know? And it says, because we're in a healthy environment, because this, hey, the spirit of Yahweh Shai has free course over here, man. You know, so it's bringing health back to the body, man. Okay? When you go into an organization where they got real nigga university, all right, niggas training on camera and niggas telling you they serve the nigga God and okay, won't tell you what the MOTB is. So when you go into an environment where your house shot not there, man, it's toxic, man. So it's a place of bad health in the spirit, man. You know, and it says every tree that does not bear, all right, good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire, man. And it's gonna get to the point. Okay. Matter of fact, let me read verse 18. It says a good tree cannot bear bad fruit, nor can a bad tree bear good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. Okay, and it's gonna be nuclear destruction, man. You see, that's how it's gonna end. The Lord, Lord not gonna play, man. Lord not gonna play with Jake. It's gonna end bad for Jake that's playing these games, man. Okay? It's gonna end bad for Jake that's playing these games, man. Jake just crossed out Yahweh shot and said, nigga, we going back to Jesus. Jake did a U-turn on the interstate. Okay? Nigga did a U-turn on the interstate, man. Nigga drove across the median and went back to Jesus, man. Okay? And in the clutch, in the fourth quarter, okay, 2-minute drill, Jake went back to Jesus, man. All right? Jake has dropped you niggas right back off in the Christian church, man. You see? So it says, therefore, by their fruit you will recognize them as false prophets, man. So by their fruit. And their fruit is what they're doing. Their actions, man. Okay? When you go here, get this word fruit, and then we'll get another precept. Okay? You go to the word fruit in the Greek, which is
Strong's G 2590 karpas.
Karpas. All right, karpas. And it says work, act, or deed. Work, act, or deed. Okay, so by their works, their acts, their deeds, they're showing what they are. Okay, Jake is showing you what they are. Jake been showing you what they're about. Alright, but a lot of you Israelites, you're attracted to that shit. Okay, you still like nigga shit. Okay? You still like that. You still like, okay, nigga culture, man. That still scratches you still got an itch for that. Alright, and the niggas scratch that itch with fringes on. Okay? And the Most High has the blind, leading the blind. But when you go here, let's get this in Jeremiah. It's the book of Jeremiah 32. And 17. The Jeremiah 32 and 19. It says, great in counsel and mighty in work, for thine eyes are open on all the ways of the Son of Man, to give everyone according to his ways and according to the fruit of his doing. The fruit of his doing. His actions. Everyone's going to be judged according to the fruit of their doings, which is their actions, man. Okay? You see, this is where we at with it, man. Yahweh Shema Shai, all right? He's going to judge everyone according to the fruit of their doings, man. Okay? And you look at the behavior of Jake in the clutch, man. Okay? The Lord's making it easier and easier to recognize that these men ain't right. They was never right. Okay? When you Israelites, if you full of shit too, like most of these guys are, man. Okay? The Lord set them niggas up over y'all, man, and lead y'all to the destruction, man. But the elect gonna always be a scrappy lady out that madness, man. And see, the Lord has put us in the position, man, to where we can sow in righteousness, man, so we can reap in righteousness, man. Okay? But you sowing the folly, man, you gonna reap folly. Okay, look at what these guys on, man. Folly, man. AI pictures, man. Okay, this man AI pictures, you know, a gorilla. All right, he threw. Okay, AI pictures at the game with Cardi. Okay, I say nigga went back to Jesus. Okay, Jake got asked about what Captain Zara got asked about the MOTB. He started talking about get your own medicine instead of saying, giving a clear cut answer of what it is. You see? So the fruit of the Lord is showing you the fruit of these men. Okay, their doings, man. Okay? And it's gonna be a judgment for that. Let's go here real quick. Isaiah 3 and 10, it says, say ye to the righteous, all right, that it shall be well with you, for they shall eat the fruit of their doings. Okay? So to the righteous, it's going to be well with the righteous, and the righteous is going to eat according to the fruit of their doings, their actions, man. That's why the Lord has given us and right teachers out his own heart that shall feed us with knowledge and understanding, so where we know how to sow in righteousness, man. Okay? So yeah, man, just wanted to get into that, all right? Because we read verse 10 in AMP, it says, say to the righteous that it go well with them, for they will eat the fruit of their righteous actions, man. Okay? Because it's all about the actions, man. Okay? It's all about being the doer of this word. So, Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you few sisters edified once again. I'm going to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations, hopefully, shalom.